K7KC. K7UHK standing by for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 repeater. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll see the frequencies that we transmit on, a little background on our organization, and also you'll find a way to get to YouTube from our site, where we transmit our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So with that, I'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 14708 with a specific tone of 103.5. That's 103.5 for our net. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Again, this is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none. So far checked into the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Checked into the net by a video link is Jessica, KF7UHK, Lee, N7KC, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check into the net? What you see is what we got. So let's start off the net. Let's go to Jessica in Everett, KF7UHK.
WW7ATS camp here in Everett, where it's 19 degrees. I just checked that temperature. Yesterday I did the what's called the 717 route up in Concrete, where it was about 6 degrees. It was cold. Didn't have a lot of riders either. I had about 6 all night for my 7 hours, so it was very slim pickings. I took a nap today. I don't normally take naps, but about 1 o'clock this afternoon, I said, you know, I'm kind of cold, kind of sleepy. I can go lay down for a few minutes, and then I woke up at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock later. So I must have been exhausted or tired or something. Let's see. I had a mini interview about that job I'm hoping to get, which is a dispatch job up for Skagit Transit. And I just got told Friday that I have another interview coming up, which is a bigger interview, which is pretty darn good. I'm gonna see what I can do to practice for a structured interview. So I'm really hopeful for that. But on the other hand, you know, a lot of people have a lot more seniority than I do. So, you know, I'll play it as it goes and take what I get. So, with that, I'm going to pass it back to Jessica KF7 UHK.
UHK, thanks for that, Jessica. Let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, all things are in order here. Oh, okay. Jim tells me I'm in. Well, good to see you guys. This is N7KC Lee in Port Angeles. We're at 19.7 degrees right now. Our coldest temperature dropped to 11 degrees for a little while over the last couple of days, and so forth. But anyway, it is what it is, you know. We're pulling out of it. I'm hearing feedback. There we go. There hasn't been a whole lot. We haven't gone anyplace. I put the block heater, turned it on, or plugged it in on the truck. And the truck, which is a hard starter in cold weather, just cracked right off. No problem. So run all the vehicles a little bit, warmed them up, and so forth. We had about, I don't think we had 4 inches of snow. A good 3, maybe 4. And that's it. You know, got real cold, and they sanded the roads a little bit. I don't think they thought that was enough to plow, so they sanded the roads. Anyway, it's okay, you know. Next couple of days we'll pull out of it, and then we'll be back to normal. My garage is at 32 degrees, so kind of hard to work out there. Even though I do have a catalytic propane heater, which I can run and so forth from in there, but it's pretty tiny compared to the volume it has to heat. That's it, I think, until the next round. So, Dave, I'll send her back to you. Good to see y'all. Y'all look pretty good tonight. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Dave, go ahead.
Connected, WU7N.
KC, and the net acknowledges WU7N has checked in. So let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Everybody, let's see, what's new here? Well, first of all, good luck, Jessica, on applying for your job, and yeah, Lee, that's interesting about the truck. You don't see people plugging in trucks around here very often, but good on you for doing that, so it starts easy. And you made me think I might just go start up mine. I have not done that, although we've gotten through the worst of it now, but you know, there could be a cumulative effect, so maybe I'll just start mine and just get it warmed a bit, get the fluids going. Otherwise, not a whole lot, just kind of hunkered down a little bit, waiting for it to warm up. I'm actually being a little bit stubborn. My feet are a little chilly because the furnace is keeping up just fine, So, like up here, it's nice and warm, but right at the floor, it can be a little chilly. Especially here where I have a little opening in the wall near my feet, which is where the cable goes out, the antenna cable goes out, the coax to go out to my outdoor antenna. So I think maybe a little bit of cold's leaking through there too. So, but those are pretty minor problems. The heat's working, all is well. So I'll send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, let's go to Kemp to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, well, I probably shouldn't have very much to talk about since I haven't literally been outside of the house since Thursday. I don't remember being in the house that long in probably ever, so it just didn't appeal to me, it just, we had 14 degrees this morning at the coldest. It's been a long time. I can't even remember the last time we've had 24 hours straight below freezing, so that's pretty weird. No, we didn't have any snow. We had a trace snow, certainly not 3 inches. And 11 degrees beats 14, but I think Bellingham, I heard, I don't know, I heard something about 3. I don't know. I don't know if I can believe that one, but I've lived in Bellingham before, and they get that, they're getting an east wind out of the Fraser River Canyon, and I think that's where all the really, really cold stuff is. Jessica, good luck on your second interview. That's a really good sign, so, it's better than no second interview, so really good luck. I think you're making big progress. Even if you don't get it this round, there could be, another opportunity coming up. I suspect they have more than one dispatcher. So let's see what else. Just kind of a report on my tooth and gum situation. We were talking about that last night, and I think I'm making progress. Doesn't hurt as much, and I'm just came to the end of the first week. The dentist said wait for 2 weeks to see how it goes. So I've got my fingers crossed there. I would think that having not gone outside the house since Thursday, that I would have a chance to, keep up with my emails. But this morning when I was talking to the YL, I looked at my Gmail, 47 unread emails that I really should read. And that's not like junk email, so that kind of freaked me out. So it took me probably an hour to just get through half of them. I may have gotten through all of them by now, but that was not very good. And let's see. Oh, yeah. I think I've told you how I have a friend that I've chatted with a couple times. He lives in Russia. He speaks fluent English. He's on YouTube. He did the big escape from Russia during that first mobilization and hung out in Turkey for a really long time with his girlfriend and his 2 cats. But he came back home. He's got a very supporting family, and they even provide him a very nice house to live in. So, he's really got it pretty good, and he's making, I think, a pretty good living considering what they earn in Russia just being a YouTuber. However, he just announced today that he he wants out of Russia. He wants to move to the United States with his beautiful girlfriend, Evelina. He's only 24 years old. And so him and his beautiful girlfriend and their 2 cats, he was asking for advice on how to get out of Russia and move to the United States. You know, not that I had any real good advice, but, you know, and there was a few hundred people giving him advice as well, or encouragement. I suggested that he contact admissions at Western Washington University in Bellingham and see about getting into the foreign student program. I know that's a big deal. It certainly was when I was there, and I'm sure it still is now. So I sent him some links. We'll see if that comes to anything. And I guess that's really about it. That's really quite a bit. Oh, I was going to say, I know where Ron is. He spent some money on the paywall to watch the football game tonight, and so even though it's a pretty crummy game, I know how Ron is probably, he's going to get every cent worth of his money that he spent, and so we might see him in a little bit. The game is just about over. It's a 2-minute warning, so I'm sure he may show up, but it wasn't worth the money he spent, I'll tell you that right now. It's 26-7, and it wasn't very exciting. Okay, all right, with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
Again, good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, let's see. Jessica, yeah, good luck on your interview. And I agree with what was previously said. They may want you at some point in the future. Or who knows, they may need a vice president for something or other and keep you in mind. It's worth putting yourself out there anyway. And thank you for doing a good job driving. It's important for a lot of people. Even though may not be getting a whole lot now due to the weather, maybe the people who really need to go somewhere. Lee, 11 degrees. Holy cow. My thermometer just showed a low of 15 degrees for this event. When I came out to the shack a little bit ago, it was 19 degrees. And right now it's warmed up to 20 degrees. It's nice and clear out here, so I would expect the temperature to go down rather than up, but I don't know. I'll take every degree that comes our way right now. Not enough snow to plow. Well, that's a good thing. And my garage attached to the house is 43 degrees right now. Not really comfortable for working, but certainly a whole lot better than outside in the cold and in the wind. Bob, you might want to throw a rag or a towel or something down by that hole. I have been in so many hotel rooms where sometimes there's a gap underneath the main door and cold air comes in or whatever. Occasionally you've got an adjacent room and someone may be smoking in there. Not so much in recent years, but it still happens every now and then. They're not supposed to be smoking, but so whenever I smell something unpleasant, I'll throw a towel over covering the gap under the door. and in particular, some of the hallways can be cold, so it works for me. It worked for me anyway. Let's see. I've got. Well, I don't see me very well, but everyone else I saw pretty good. Dick, I did not have you in color, but the other pictures I had everyone in color, and pretty good signal, relatively speaking, on 1.2 gigahertz. Dick, yeah, emails just keep coming. I have that same problem too. I'm sure that everyone here does. Just have to be persistent. Sorry about that. It's kind of sometimes a pain in the butt. And football, yeah. Couple games. Someone was postponed today. I think it was the Bills because of weather, and I kind of wanted to see the Chiefs playing, but I don't have it on my television, so I don't know what's going on there. I'll find out about that on the news tonight. But kind of reminds me of the days we used to watch people at Lambeau Field playing. Kind of fun to watch the games. I don't know if it would be as much fun if I were sitting in the stadium, but fun to watch them anyway. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, and time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, NAT on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
All right, I am on Echo Link, and I have the advanced test unit timing here. I don't know if I've got 2 minutes or how long I've got here, but anyway, great to hear everybody tonight. I got an interesting phenomenon maybe Lee could comment on. I was using the optical thermometer out the window this morning, and it said it was 5 degrees. And I don't think it was really that cold here in Northeast Bellevue. I think it was about 10 degrees higher than that, maybe 5 degrees higher than that. And I was wondering if I have an emissivity problem in the dark, although right now when I just checked it out the back window in the dark, it's agreeing with other temperatures around here. You know, it's not 10 degrees off. So I'm wondering what could have caused that, if anybody has any ideas on that. Right now it's about 21 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Let's see, Jessica, congratulations on interviews. That sounds like wonderful news. I hope that works out well for you. Yeah, practice with anybody you can. I had not interviewed in a very long time, and I got the feeling I just didn't do well in an interview, I don't know, a year ago. And I don't mean to sound arrogant, but my gosh, what are they looking for? I certainly was qualified for the job, but there might have been other factors to consider in that. But yeah, you got to do well in the interview. That's the first step. Let's see, and we're a minute and 15 here, so let me go until I cut off, and then I'll figure out how long I have here. Let's see. Let's see, the other thing, batteries. Bob, thank you for mentioning that, because I have not hardly been out just like Richard. I think I ventured out once to return a container to a neighbor who had given me some food, and check my mailbox, and it was just so bitterly cold with the wind out there. I just came right back inside. That's the only time I've been out, so I ventured all the way out to the mailbox and across the street. I guess there was one other time. My neighbor's garage door was stuck in the cold the first night of this, and so I went over and helped him get that unstuck. But yeah, I got to check my batteries, make sure everything starts. My power steering on my Camry is dead. I know that because I had a little pan under it where it would just have like 1 or 2 drips. Now I had a little mountain of slightly frozen hydraulic fluid where the rack and pinion is. So yeah, it's dead, Jim, as Dr. McCoy would say. But it's interesting that normally the hydraulic fluid is very fluid. This time it came out kind of like jelly or something. It was cold enough to actually affect that. In addition to doing whatever problem it was. Who knows, maybe just something shrunk up in there enough to let it all out. But no, the rack and pinion does need to get changed. Richard, if you have a chance to tell your friend the way to get out of Russia, a friend of mine got out by taking a vacation to China, and then made appropriate arrangements to get to Hong Kong, and that was before Hong Kong was completely under the CCP, so then made arrangements with Hong Kong to go to Japan. This just was a little side trip, and ended up, oddly, in Seattle, and hasn't been back since. And so that worked because she was a physician, and when she said, well, gee, I was thinking about maybe going, visiting, Western Europe or something, they just told her no. Because we put all this money into you, so we'd like you to just have your vacation closer to home. So she said, China, would that be okay? Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, that's how it worked out for her. So let's see. Oh, emails, everybody. I am getting just spammed to death with phishing emails. I'm not curious enough to set up a virtual machine and see what they really do, but they're obviously, when someone's trying to timeout.
Handing it back to you.
Here, got you on the net. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Oh my goodness, it's 22 degrees here in Lake City. And I'd like to say, for Jessica, boy, being a dispatcher, I would imagine you'd probably have to find out how to use a two-way radio. Oh my, that would have something you'll have to explore to be able to talk to all those vehicles out there in the hinterland, you might say. So anyway, I think you're well qualified for using two-way radios. So anyway, that is something good. And let's see, I got 22 degrees here in Lake City. And I heard a story this last week that the 737 is actually 50 years old, and that brought me back to remembering I was on the first press flight from Boeing Field to Vancouver, BC on a 737 50 years ago. So anyway, the plane was much smaller than the conventional 737s now. It was a small plane compared to what we got going, so that was an experience I had to do. And then I noticed, I finally checked with ARRL to see if my license had come through for public domain, and I noticed that it's there, so I'm good for another 10 years, friends, so I'll be around, well, hopefully, for another 10 years. We'll have to see what happens with that, but it did get posted, so I must have done something right in the renewal process. So this is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. So let's go up to Jessica again, KF7UHK.
If you've been at Scheduled Transit for 10 years, they give you a jacket. And as I like to tell people with 10-year jackets, I like to say, when I get my 10-year jacket, I'll be 75 years old. So, I giggle at that. I won't be there. I won't be there for 10 years. And I'll have to learn to say, Channel 2 clear, 1921. Let's see. And another thing is one of our things that we always hear dispatchers tell us is, why don't you try rebooting the bus at your next chance? And that means going out, turning off the bus, turning off the main power switch on the thing, which is a great big throw switch on the outside of the bus, in a little door, and then you turn the bus back on, and that reboots everything. And there's probably many computers inside this thing that all talk to each other, or should. And if they don't, then you reboot the bus. He's dead, Jim. One of my favorite lines from Star Trek. You just know he's going to say it. You look at Dr. McCoy, and he has that look on his face that he's dead. Jim's coming out. And last thing is, we've been watching a TV show. It's like a British reality show. It's kind of slow. It's very dramatic. It's called Traitors. And these people go to try to win money by trying to figure out who the traitors are in this game. And every night they go out and eliminate someone else, hopefully. And then if the traders end up at the end, they'll split the money. If not, someone else will get the money. And it's like 120,000 pounds. I don't know how much that is, but it's probably a goodly amount. So that's what I got from here, and thank you for all your well wishes. I'm gonna do my best, and if it doesn't work out, you know, I don't mind driving buses. Actually, it's actually a lot of fun. So it's just you know, when I first walked into Skagit, I said that's the job I want. It's KF7 UHK. N7KC connected WU7N.
N7KC in Port Angeles. You're up next. What say you?
Okay, there. Normally my transmit switch is grayed out, you know, and I have to wait until for a few seconds till the repeater audio is quiet long enough for it to be activatable. There you go. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, it's warmed up 0.2 of a degree here. Yay. Now, here's an interesting thing. A couple of mornings ago, well, the Washington State used to be a traffic net, the WSN. The first session is at 7:30 in the morning. Is it raining? Is it cloudy? Okay, Bob says I was out, now I'm in, I guess. Anyway, we have a gal in Ole, Montana. It's between Whitefish and Eureka, about halfway, and at 3,500 feet. Of course, everything in Montana is 3,500 feet. The lowest point in Montana is at Troy at 1,800 feet. Ask me how I know that. Anyway, she reported the temperature 2 mornings ago at minus 32. That takes the cake. That's the lowest. That's the lowest temperature I've heard of reported in a long time. Minus 32. Wow. And the same morning, there was a guy in Rexford, which is on the Kootenai River, and he was minus 9. So I don't know why she would have be so cold, and he was cold, but not so cold. Anyway, I don't really have anything else. I did string electrical cords to keep the hummingbird. We have 2 hummingbird feeders, and we like to keep them going for those guys. And we feed the other birds. For the big birds, we throw it out on the ground, and then we have a lot of feeders for the small birds. And boy, we've had flickers in here after the suet. My goodness, they're lovely birds. Beautiful, beautiful marking. Big, pretty good size. And boy, can they devour a block of suet. Anyway, Dave, I've got no time left, so I'm going to send it back to you. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
7KC, thanks for that. I'll get another idea here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'll pause in case anybody wants to join in on the net. Hearing none, again, this is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. So let's go to Bob in Bottle, K9PQ.
Hey, well, hello again. I have a few comments, but first, things I forgot to mention my first go-around. So I got a bit soft with Sparky. Normally, I will not bring in her cat box unless there's snow on the ground, on the deck, because she will not walk through the snow. And I haven't ever tested her on that. You know, I haven't ever tried to force her to walk on the snow. I just bring in the cat box. But this time we didn't have snow. We had a little dusting, and it went away quickly before the temperature really dropped. And but when it got down to, well, let's see, the low for me overnight, last night, was 11.8. That was my all-time low. So that was pretty cold, and I decided I'd bring in her litter box into the second bathroom there, which is where it is now, and we'll stay for a few more days till things really warm up. The other thing is, the building next to me, just another of the same exact style as my condo building, but it's just the one next door. Each one of us have like 5 units in it. They had their fire alarm go off, and I didn't even hear it because with my humidifier fan going full blast, I didn't hear their alarm until what happened was I saw the flashing lights of the fire engine out of my sliding door, my back sliding door. It was on the trees, the red light reflecting off the trees. So I opened the door and I heard the alarm. Well, they've had false alarms in that building in the past, but it was not, in below 20 when they had it before. So I didn't see anyone outside. Normally, they would all evacuate and go out even though they knew it was a false alarm, but I think it was so cold they just said, no, not going to do this. So, or it's possible by the time I saw it, the fire department said they could go back inside again. But man, I would be really upset if I was in that building, because this has happened like 3 times I know of, and maybe a few more. And this is, not something that should ever be continuing to happen. They have to get that fixed. So those are the things going on with me personally. The Montana minus 32, that is right around, I don't know if I ever noted it, but that's right around the lowest it ever was in the 10 years I was living in Chicago. Of course, they talked about wind chill all the time, but this was without wind chill. This was before adding in wind chill. It was minus 32. I think with wind chill, somewhere in the mid-40s was the lowest it ever got. But we would get routinely, we'd get a week below zero, between 0 and 10 below, pretty routinely every winter. That would be our cold week. And my one memory from that is going to work. We had in the middle of this very, very frigid weather, we had a hot spell, that came all the way up to about freezing. And so I put on a lighter jacket. I thought, oh, this is great, and I went to go to the subway to ride into downtown to work, and the subway was about 20 degrees colder. I was shivering down there because it hadn't warmed up below ground. It was still that really, really frigid temperature. Well, I have other comments, but it looks like I'll have another turn, so I'll wait and give it up to somebody else here. The reboot bus, man, I could talk for a half hour probably on that. That's hilarious. I hope they're not using Windows for those for those processors. Back to that, K9PQ.
K9PQ, let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
All right. Well, a lot of fun for sure. Well, I will say that I'm pretty sure, and I actually experienced Echolink does not have a timeout. And the reason why I'm pretty sure is because when I was a newbie on Echolink out of town, I checked into PSRG, but then after I signed out, verbally and with audio, I didn't sign out on Echolink itself. You have to press a button, I can't remember, space bar, whatever. Or no, I can't remember, but I did not sign out on Echolink for a long time. And then when I realized that, oh no, I signed out, and oh man, did I hear it. Joan just read me the riot act, and so did LW, so I learned my lesson with Echolink. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't time out. So anyway, 32 degrees below zero, and I have a friend that lives in Wolf Creek, Montana, and he told me a story. He likes to hunt, him got out of their cars or wherever they trucks, and they wanted to pour a glass of beer, so they did. But by the time they got the beer up to their lips, it was totally frozen solid. So it's pretty weird business when it's that cold outside. So I'll never forget that story. And yeah, the hummingbird feeders, we have those, and we're not smart enough to have them electrified, but we do have rotating feeders. And so when we see one looks like it's pretty much unusable because of ice or whatever, then we walk out and they are there to greet us as we bring in the fresh, warm hummingbird feeder. It's pretty cool. But one kind of sad thing about the hummingbirds, and as humans that we are, it's probably more our fault than the hummingbirds, but I guess it was yesterday or the last couple days, it's been very, very nice and sunny, and so we like having our blinds completely open. We enjoy our southern exposure. However, I don't know, I must have some, I know I've seen beautiful reflections from the sidewalk from our windows, and I know that and we've had hummingbirds. Well, we had one hit, fortunately not violently today, but I immediately drew the blinds down. One time, a hummingbird hit, fell, and landed in the deep snow, and Debbie went out and rescued it from the snow. As soon as she dug it out of the snow, it flew away. So that's kind of dangerous for that. And I would say my daughter, her first apartment, the construction wasn't too smart in that they had fire suppressant sprinkler for the decks, unprotected outside. And so when it got this cold in Bellingham, the pipe burst in her living room when she was in bed. And the crazy thing about it, the landlord knew about this problem, but the fire department was not going to, turn off the fire alarm system or anything like that. I'll put in a plug for State Farm renter's insurance. They paid for everything above and beyond, including the extra premium on higher rent moving into a new place for a year. So, of course it was just fantastic. State Farm, I can't say enough about their renter's insurance. So, with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITX, let's go to Jim in 7QO. But I got to get a quick idea again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So, Jim, in 7QO, what say you?
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. It seems like Jim experienced a timeout on Echolink. I don't know, maybe there wasn't one and there is now, or maybe it varies between machines or something. I don't know, but anyway, Jim timed out on us here. Let's see, Lee, Montana. Yeah, if I'm looking at it correctly, that place is just down the road from Kalispell. Kalispell has a really nice airport. I've flown in and out of there with 727s a few years ago, and kind of a nice area. Burr, that's what I have to say. International Falls is frequently a really cold place here in the lower 48. I don't know. Personally, I've been contemplating moving to Phoenix just to get to where it's warmer, but oh well. Let's see. Oh, Bob. Yeah, we had a dusting over here as well, and it disappeared pretty quickly. But thanks for being kind to Sparky there. I'm sure that's appreciated. And false fire alarms. Oh, that's not good. They've got to figure out what the problem is there. Just like that 1737, they had pressurization issues. Can't help but wonder if it may have been related to that door. It's hard to find a problem that isn't there. It's hard to find a problem that's intermittent, but it's imperative to keep looking. So hopefully it's just one goofy smoke detector or something. If someone fries up bacon or something every day at a certain time, that might be a good clue. You never know. It might be just a neighbor not realizing they're setting off the smoke alarms. Yeah, Jessica, rebooting the bus. Well, I have flown a couple of airplanes where they need to be rebooted from time to time as well. Amazing. You get on the ground, and I've gone out to an airplane before, and the thing is like completely dead, and maintenance is there, and it's, what's going on? We're just rebooting the airplane. It's like, okie dokie. I don't know, what has this world come to? It's, you know, back in the day, the 727s and DC-9s, man, you just flew them and they worked. It's there's something to be said for that. And all of the doors used to be too big to fit through the opening. Nowadays, it seems like it doesn't play by those rules anymore. I don't know. I don't get it. Oh well. I guess that's all I got for now. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO. Let's go to James, WU7N.
Oh, well, this is WU7N with uniform 7 November. And, see, I seem to have lost my picture for some odd reason, but Bob, thank you for switching me in. And I think I caught the top of the minute. Yeah, the timeout on Echo-Link just depends on how the sysop sets it up. You can configure it to anything you want, any way you want. But yeah, that's the story on the mysterious Echo-Link timeout. I think ours is a little over 2 minutes. I think it's default. I'm not sure about that. Well, Dave, pretty exciting that you flew on a 737 back when they actually worked. But I'll be really impressed. You'll really be a daredevil if you say you've actually flown on a 737 MAX. That would be really impressive. Also, I saw the coolest ad. Alaska Airlines had this ad for only $30 upgrade. You could get a scenic window view seat. They promised you an exciting ride. And so that's, I think, you know, how marketing is trying to turn that one around. Wish them the best of luck with that. Let's see. Oh, Jessica's $157,000 in American U.S. dollars. That's if they're paying them in British pounds. And that's I rounded up slightly. That exchange rate's fluctuating a little bit right now. Let's see. Oh, Richard, yes, a friend of mine has hummingbird feeders just down the street from me, and the males with the iridescent throats, they come down and, you know, like buzz around her head, and it's not like a friendly thing, it's a territorial aggression thing, but it's just so hilarious to see this little oversized mosquito buzzing around her head when she's out gardening or something. I just think it's funny. She said she found one, I think this kid was called Torpor, where it was frozen or somehow it had gotten into trouble, and she blew a hairdryer on it, and it suddenly wakes up like, where am I? Ah, what are you? And it flies off. So I guess it's a survival thing. I mean, they can shut down or something like that. Let's see. Another marketing department thing, Bob, there's a difference between a false alarm and a nuisance alarm, but I doubt the people in that building would care what the difference is. Next time round, I'll tell you all about it.
WW7N disconnected.
WW7N, thanks with that. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Talking about smoke detectors and alarms, I was having problems several years ago, and I found out my smoke alarm was about 12 years old, and they say that it should be replaced about every 7 years. And mine had a tendency to go off in the rec room if I was ironing something. Just the steam coming off the iron would be enough to set off the detector. So once I replaced that, I had no more problems. Also, anytime I was cooking something in the kitchen and there was just a little smoke, it would take off, and I replaced that one in the living room, and that made a big difference too. So got to be careful with that. Oh my. And then television British shows, Traitors, oh my gosh. I guess we could have that here in the U.S. I think a prime candidate would have Trump on the show, see how that would work. So anyway, it'd be a good way to test to see if the program really works. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM. So I'll send it back up to the top, and let's see if we can find Jessica again, KF7UHK.
That was hilarious. I agree. Let's see. I've run out of things to say here. I think tomorrow we go up to the house and go and check out that. I did have my faucets running, dribbling just a little bit here, just to make sure that, because they're kind of on the outer edge of the condo building here, and so that's where it's coldest. And actually, if I close my bathroom doors in our ground floor condo, in the morning when I go into them, they're always like frigid cold, because once again, they're not getting warmed up by the rest of the condo. This all electric baseboard heats, and that brings me to my tip, which I've probably given before. When we first bought this place, the first thing I did is I replaced those old-fashioned twisty knobby mechanical thermostats on the wall with nice digital ones. So it reads out digitally, and I can set it digitally, and that's better than the old twisty ones. You kind of turn it until it goes click and go, okay, that's about enough. And you find out later it was way too much. For about $100 and 3 different digital thermostats, it makes it pretty darn comfortable to have these things, and I think that's a little more efficient than, like I say, the old-fashioned twisty, knobby, mechanical style thermostats. And then one last thing here is when I point my thermometer, my IR thermometer at the sky, I'm always amazed because it gives me some kind of error message. So if anybody wants to give me the explanation for why that is, I'd be really interested. It's probably because it's not reading anything other than the sky, and is it looking into space? I don't know. This is KF7UHK. Connected WU7N
KC.
Lee, I think you're up.
Okay, am I on? I make it in? All right, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Yeah, my infrared thermometer, when you point it out at night to, say, deep space, if you please, there's no energy coming back, and so, yeah, it reads an error here because it's going, it can't read that temperature. It's below what it's supposed to be doing. Booting a computer. I don't know. You guys may well be old to remember the bootstrap booters of the early days, but I was with computers back when you actually, like with the M size, well, down at the university where I worked, they had M size and that sort of thing, and what you had to do before you could even bring it, you had to toggle in, I don't know, 25 or 30 bytes of information just to get the paper tape reader to work. And then the paper tape reader would then load more information into the system so it could come up. It was called a bootstrap loader because it was as if the computer pulled itself up by its bootstraps. And that got shortened to boot. And so booting today has no relationship really to what was going on in the days when the term was formulated. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't have anything else here. I'll send it back to you. 7-3, everybody. It's good to see you all. And Jessica, good luck on your interview. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Dave, go ahead.
KC, let's go on to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, as I said before, I took some notes, so I'm going to go very quickly through them. So yeah, the rebooting the bus is just, that's hilarious, and I'm just going to move on because I could spend like the rest of the net on that. The Russian YouTuber asking through a YouTube video, if I understood this right, for advice to leave Russia, my advice would be don't ask on YouTube. But it's too late for that, but that would be my advice. And Richard, I guess you were also using the paywall, I guess, because it looked like you were seeing the game there, so I guess, or maybe you already subscribed to that service, whatever it was that allowed you to see the game. I'm curious about that. Thanks for the tip, Jim, on the towel. Let's see, sorry about your car problems, James, and that's just a pain. Good luck with that. Let's see, I got an email from Puget Sound Energy today asking me to turn down my thermostat and don't do things like run the dishwasher and washing machine and dryer because they said the system is being stressed right now, and I have never seen anything like that before. So I don't know if it's because of the growth in the area, or they just haven't kept up with the infrastructure, or maybe infrastructure problems. I don't know, but I've never seen that before. I have a few more. The alarm. This I think I want to explain. We have three levels of fire protection here. We have the smoke alarms, but they don't tie into the building alarms. The building alarm that I was hearing is you pull the lever down outside of the entrance. At every entrance there's a lever, and so it's that style like you see in commercial buildings. And then the third one, we have the sprinklers, and thank goodness our sprinklers have never gone off. But yeah, that's what we have here. So I'll send it back. K9PQ 73, everyone.
9PQ, thanks with that. Let's go to Richard, K7ATS.
Okay, so yeah, you're right, Bob. About Ivan in Russia. I thought maybe what he did wasn't the smartest thing, but he's a pretty brave guy. I think he might even have some kind of inside connections. He's any of the Russian patriots that can speak English and watch what he does, they will certainly call him a traitor, and he'll have to put up with a lot of business like that from people bugging him. That might not be the government as much as just these vigilantes that they have, kind of like we have over here. So, yeah, well, I'm sure he'll tell us about it. You know, YouTube and a lot of the social media sites in Russia are not blocked, and I think for probably good reason. And the other thing, I think Ivan was able to get away. He's got a little bit extra freedom, I think, partly because he says a lot of good things about Russia, and he takes us on a lot of tours of Russia. He stays out of the politics, and he just tries to show us the human element that, a young 24-year-old, all the crazy things that, those, kids do at that age, and I call them kids because even though Ivan is awfully mature for, he learned English. His grandparents, who were actually, or like his parents, sent him to boarding school when he was a little kid in Ireland, of all places, and that's how he learned English as well as he does. But he wanted to go back to Russia, and he did, but is very, very disappointed about not the government as much as the economy. He doesn't see any opportunity to get wealthy in the Russian economy at this point in time. So, anyway, that's too bad. We'll see if he stays on the air. I hope he does, because I almost think of him I definitely think of him as a friend now, and I enjoy all his adventures. So with that, thanks a lot, everybody. It's been a lot of fun. So, 73, K7ITX, back to net control.
N7KC disconnected.
ITX, Richard, thanks with that. And it's time to terminate the net. It's been an exciting hour. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice communications for our nets. So with that, I bid you adieu. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Good evening, all.
7N disconnected.